Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 84, Ask Me Anything, Listener Questions. So before we get started, please hit subscribe if you haven't done so on Apple Podcasts. That is the best way to never miss a show. I'm cranking them out pretty regularly, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and even leave a review. That would be even better. It all helps the show, so thank you guys so much. So welcome. Welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing? It's a gorgeous evening. Usually I record during the day, but right now it's evening here on the East Coast, and the sun is just starting to set, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I hope that you are creating good things out there in the world, even with everything going on right now with COVID-19. I absolutely believe there are so many good things to be created. I had another client just in the last 2 weeks accept a position that's at least the third or fourth since March. So that is so cool. Good things are possible right now, you guys. Okay. And you know, one thing I'm noticing too, this is kind of an aside, but I'm noticing a lot of younger folks reaching out to me. I normally work with mid and late career professionals, but there have been a handful of younger folks, college and new grad, reaching out for help. And I can't help but feel like it's going to have to be rough out there for them right now, graduating from college and trying to land that first job in this economy, in this situation. I mean, it's tough for everybody, but it kind of made me think maybe there's a trend there that's a group of people who are struggling right now, actually, as younger folks. I think it's kind of hitting everyone in different ways. But anyway, what I want to do today is something I've never done before. I've been thinking about this for a while. I think this is a really cool idea. I've done Ask Me Anything type sessions on social media where people can post questions that I will answer. So I thought, even though the show's not live, we can definitely still do that here. So basically today is all about me reaching into the listener mailbag, which is my inbox, my email or LinkedIn inbox. And I put a call out there for people to ask me, send me questions for the show. And I got several, which is great. So I'm going to answer every one of those today. So I think this will be great. And if you want to send me a question for the future, you can send me one at any time. I will definitely do another Ask Me Anything session again. But even if it's going to be a while before I do another one, send me your question anyway, because I'll still answer it on a future show as quickly as I can, definitely. So you can always email me at lorraine@careeruprising.com and send me your career question, whatever it is, and I will answer it on air. And I would love to coach you on air if you're brave and you want to come on air and really get some free one-on-one help. That is a standing offer that I have as well for any listener. Even if you've never been a client, I'd be happy to coach you on air. Okay, so the first question that I got came actually from a former client of mine and a longtime listener of this show, Alex. It was great to hear from Alex. He got a great job a while back after we worked together, and he's doing really well. And so I was so happy that he still listens to the show. And then he sent me a couple of questions, a really good one, very timely one too. So what Alex wanted to know about is managing home and work right now with the virus situation going on. He's working from home. His wife's working from home. I can relate to that. Plus they have kids. I think a lot of you out there can probably relate to that. So he wants to know, how can he manage all of that? Balance working from home with kids and stay productive. So as far as what I'm doing, this is definitely my life right now. And I will say it's not terribly hard for me. Not terribly hard just because I only have one kid. Most people who have kids have more than one kid, which I can only imagine would make it even more challenging. Plus, I was already accustomed to working from home, as was my husband. So for us, nothing really changed except now our kid is home, who normally is at school. So for us, it hasn't been as terrible as an adjustment as I know it might be for some folks who have more kids and were not accustomed to working from home. That can be a little bit jarring. But as far as what I'm doing, I will say the first couple of weeks were a little bit rough. We didn't have a real schedule and a routine going on, and it was just kind of us going back and forth, me checking on her, making sure she's doing her schoolwork. And I know that I was not as productive as I could have been during that time. We were really still figuring it out. And I'd say it took us a good 2 weeks or so to really get into a rhythm and figure out what was necessary, what wasn't, and that kind of thing. Things are running so much more smoothly now. It's been, I don't know, 6 weeks, something like that. No, I think it's been 8 weeks. Yeah, it's been 8 weeks that she's been home. Gosh, wow. So we're really in a good groove, just in time for school to be over in a couple of weeks, which I cannot believe it will be. So don't worry if it takes you a little while to get used to it, but you do have to have a talk with your kids sometimes, and it depends on how old they are, about really committing to a schedule. This is an opportunity for you and them to commit to a new schedule and practice it. And it's a little uncomfortable at first, and it's hard when they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old. Mine's 10. But you've got to stick to it even when it's a little bit painful. So for example, she has a certain time in the morning when she knows that I expect her to be up and dressed with her teeth brushed and ready to go. So even though she's at home, quote, school starts at 10 a.m. So we stick with that, whether or not she has anything specific to do at that time. That's when she's dressed, ready to go. She's eaten breakfast and she's in there in front of her computer starting school. It's a firm expectation. Okay. So that's important. Setting expectations and setting a schedule. And she also knows that she has to have all of her schoolwork done before she can watch TV or do anything like that. So create that schedule and create firm expectations and stick to it, even though it is a little bit difficult in the beginning. Trust me, it does get better. Kids adjust, and so do adults sometimes. But additionally, I will say my daughter and my husband and I all have separate designated workspaces. And I think this is a really good idea. You need to figure out, where are you going to be? Where is your space? And if it has to be the kitchen table or something, that's fine. But ideally, you want to be somewhere a little bit removed so you have a little bit of space and privacy. So we're really lucky. My husband has hit our finished basement. So he's down there. He's got his desk. I've got my own office upstairs. My daughter is in her bedroom with her desk. So we all pretty much congregate in the morning for breakfast, go to our workspaces for a couple hours, come back together at lunch, go back to work again, and then come back together in the evening. It's actually pretty regimented. And I'm a pretty naturally disciplined person. So it works well for us to do that. But if you're not naturally disciplined, it's going to be a little bit more of an uncomfortable process, or maybe you're just not as rigid in your scheduling. So it's not always going to be easy for everyone. But this is an opportunity for you to practice that, okay? One other thing I do too is when I know I'm getting ready to be on a coaching call or I have some kind of phone appointment, I set a clear expectation that I'm not available during that time. So what I'll do is I'll go find my daughter 5-10 minutes before my coaching session starts, and I'll tell her, hey, I'm going to be on a call with a client from 2 to 3, just so you know. Obviously, if you need me for emergencies, you can come get me, but I'm going to be on the phone. And she gets it. She totally gets it. She's so used to mom having appointments and working in the home office, but it's really a good thing for me to just pop my head in and just double check that clear expectation that she knows I'm not available during this time. And at 10 years old, it works well. She understands. So I do know that is a little harder when your kids are younger. So hopefully if you have younger kids, maybe there's some kind of family support or somebody who can help you out during those times. Or if nothing else, you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with, if you've got a call for an hour, the kids are younger, let them watch a little bit of TV, right? let that be the screen time that they get, and then they cannot be in front of the screen the rest of the time when you're a little bit more available. Sometimes you gotta do things like that just for survival. It's not a big deal, I don't think. So figure out what works for you. But I think I think too that it's worth mentioning that it's not just the kids that we have to set expectations with, right? Sometimes it's our spouse too. Sometimes grown-ups need that as well. Everyone in the house really needs to be on board with this plan and stick to it as best they can. Just assume that the first week or two is going to be a little bit difficult, but push through it and make sure you communicate with your spouse and your kids what is working and what is not, and let them know what you might need in order to be more productive and be more successful in what you're doing, and make sure things are balanced and that you're helping each other out so one person doesn't have more of the burden than another. Okay. This is how you have a peaceful, happy home life while you're all working from home. Okay. That was a long answer. That was a great question. So let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I have several more questions, and we're going to talk about the job market, COVID-19, working remote, and all kinds of great things. Okay? We'll be right back. Hey there, my listeners. We're on a short break, and I have a question for you. Are you looking for a new job, but you don't know where to start? Or maybe you've been searching and it's taking too long and you're not getting any results. Many clients don't know how to launch an effective job search, and they spend months or even years looking. Well, I have a solution for that. My coaching program, Career Jumpstart, teaches you my proven 3-step strategy that has landed hundreds of clients amazing new jobs in about 60 days. In this program, I personally will guide you on how to confidently and authentically market yourself to employers, resulting in a better job faster. If that sounds like what you've been missing, head over to careeruprising.com and apply for my Career Jumpstart program today. That's careeruprising.com. All right, let's get back to our show. All right, we are back, guys. So this next set of questions comes from a friend of mine, Autumn, somebody in my personal network, and she had several questions and really had some good thoughts around COVID-19 and the job market and how it might be changing things, which is on everyone's mind right now. One of the things that she wanted to know is, how is COVID-19 affecting the availability of working remote? And is that something that we can realistically expect to see or negotiate more of in the future? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. I think that's one of the clearest trends that is probably going to be emerging from this situation, is more working from home, which is a great thing in a lot of ways, right? Less time in traffic, less pollution out there with all the cars. Companies maybe don't have to sink so much money into real estate and big buildings. I think that there's the environmental impact alone of more people working from home is awesome. So this is what I mean when I say good things can be coming and are coming from this situation, without a doubt. So yeah, I definitely think that you're going to see more of this. And I do think that's something that you likely could negotiate. Absolutely. And you may not even have to as much if employers are starting to see benefits for them, or just feel pressure or expectations to offer more remote options. And it's kind of funny because if it becomes more commonplace, then it's not really going to be that benefit that employers put out there right now to try to attract new talent, right? It's going to become kind of normalized. So I wonder if companies will have to find other perks and other ways to attract employees if this becomes very common and it's no big deal, right? It's not something you can throw out there as a unique perk or benefit. So just thinking it kind of out loud on that one a little bit. But no, virtual meetings and remote work is not going away anytime soon. And having said that, I think if you want to negotiate working remotely, you do want to think about why. Is it concerns over the virus? If so, then that's probably going to be an all or nothing kind of thing rather than, oh, can I work from home one day or 2 days a week? I would imagine if it's really because of the virus, it's going to be an all or nothing kind of thing. So we'll see what it does, or if employers go to like shift work and things like that in the office. But I don't know. It's going to be crazy, but I definitely think we're going to see more of it for sure. I will say too, let's see, her next question, she asked about finding remote based jobs. Yeah, that makes sense. So, obviously we know we're going to see more of it. So how can we right now go on and find some of those remote jobs? Well, there's a number of sites out there that I know I've recommended before on the show, flexjobs.com. That's one of them. That one you do have to pay a little bit, but I think it's one of the more legitimate sites. I think there's another one, remote.com as well, that's devoted to remote work. So that's a great place to start. And I think there's another one called something about the rat race, ditch the rat race or something like that. I don't know, I have to Google that one. I'm not as familiar with it. But there are sites out there that absolutely are dedicated just to remote jobs. So if that's really what you're looking for, you might want to start on those. But I know too, on traditional job boards like Indeed.com, you can actually just put the word remote in the location when you're searching for jobs, and that's very effective. It's pretty much foolproof. Whenever I've done that, I haven't found a lot of non-remote jobs coming up. So I think that's a pretty good search function right there. So you can do it that way too. You can just put remote in for the location, and that should help you. So there's a couple of ideas right there for getting started with that. But and I know that one thing Indeed is doing to kind of adapt to this is, you'll notice they have noted on there, even if you don't search for a remote job, I think they have noted on there temporarily remote jobs due to COVID-19. So you will see that designation on there. And then if that's the case, you know that job is going to be going back into the office likely. It's not permanently remote. So I think that's great that they're designating on there that it's temporarily remote due to COVID-19, because that's an important distinction to make. But another question that she posed kind of related to all of this is whether or not COVID-19 would end up affecting salaries in the workplace. And this is an interesting one. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know. I think it's a little early maybe to predict what is going to happen. But it's certainly possible that it could. If we end up going into a prolonged slump or recession here, I hope we don't. It's definitely possible that could have a negative impact on salaries. I mean, we know that there's an influx of talent right now. All these graduating seniors entering the job market and not really able to find work. And they're entering probably a recessed economy here where businesses are closed, people are being laid off. And yeah, I think the availability and possibly the salaries of jobs could be going down. So time will tell on that. Who knows? But, we shall see, my friends, what this COVID-19 does to everybody. But I want you to stay positive, and I want you to keep going with everything that you're doing in your search, because like I said, I've seen so many of my clients that I've been working with get jobs just recently that it is absolutely proof of what is possible. I think it depends a lot on what industry you're in and what you do. So there's a lot of variance in results there. But one more question is, this is also from Autumn. What types of questions should candidates be asking in the interview? And is there anything related to COVID-19 that we should be asking as candidates? I think that's interesting. As far as what should you be asking related to COVID-19, I think that it's certainly reasonable to ask employers just what their response was. How have they changed their policies and procedures since the onset of the pandemic? Are they requiring people? Are they having people work from home? Are they requiring the temperature checking or masks in certain cafeterias and areas? I think that you definitely should know, because there could be something that you don't agree with or not okay with or anything like that. You need to know what you're getting into. And it's crazy to think we have to ask all these questions now that we never would have before. The landscape has definitely changed. So, yeah, I think that you definitely should at least ask them what was their response to it, and what has changed in terms of their policies and procedures in terms of the virus. So, I definitely think, yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I hope it changes is the whole open office concept. You know what I mean? If you ever worked in one of those environments where the desks are like shoved right together, it's just like a big pit or a big open room of people shoved really close together. I had one of those jobs years ago and it was awful, truly. So if there's one silver lining, I'm hoping that COVID-19 will take that away and get rid of that open office concept, because I don't think that was a great idea anyway. But I would say too, if you're deciding to whether or not to ask a question and you're not sure in the interview if you should ask it, ask yourself if it matters to you. You know, would knowing the answer to this question make a difference in whether or not I accept it? If it does, ask the question. If it doesn't, maybe you don't need to. So you may have to think about that. But I think it's okay to ask them what their policies and procedures are with COVID and what's changed, definitely. All right, there you have it, my friends. That was about 5 or 6 questions. That was a lot. So thank you guys for sending those in. And as I said, you can email me at any point with a question that you want answered on the air, and I promise I will take care of it for you. You can send it via email. You can send it via LinkedIn. I started a new LinkedIn group, guys. I want you to join it. It's called Career Uprising Premium Online Community. You can also post questions there if you want more of an instant response, but I want to see you there. The group is growing quickly, given that I just started it about a month ago, or maybe 3 weeks. So it's growing rapidly. I'd love to see you there, and I'd love to know what questions you are going through and how I can help you. So stay safe and healthy and strong, you guys, because there is good news on the horizon. I know there is. I'm seeing good things happen with my clients. But I hope this message served you. And if you need to find me, it's careeruprising.com. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show was brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.